Hi, viewers. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rediva Revenugopal, Assistant Professor of Physics, and I am working at Government Degree College, Mahbubabad. Today, we are going to discuss about Maxwell's electromagnetic wave equations and how to derive them, and by using basic laws of electromagnetic induction. So this is a topic. This topic is there in electromagnetic induction. That is Unit 3 of electromagnetism paper. So let us go further. Electromagnetism was developed by Michael Faraday, and later James Clerk Maxwell put the laws of electromagnetism form of which we know today. These laws are called as Maxwell's equations. So before going to derive our electromagnetic wave equations, let us discuss some of the basics that we require to derive those Maxwell's equations. So for that we have to discuss some basics. What is a scalar field? What is a vector field? What is del operator? And what is curl? And what is divergence? And some other topics that they are like Gauss divergence theorem, Stokes theorem, and Green's theorem of vector calculus, and we have to discuss about the continuity equation also. So let's go by one. So what is a scalar field? So scalar field is defined as the region of space whose each point is associated with a scalar function. So a continuous function which gives the value of physical quantity like flux, potential, temperature, etc. Are called as scalar fields. Then coming to vector field, a vector field is specified by a continuous vector point function having magnitude and direction both changes from point to point in a given region of field. So this is a basic difference between scalar field and vector field. That means a scalar field is represented by a scalar function, and a vector field is represented by a vector function having magnitude and direction that is also both changes from point to point in a given region of field. Next, coming to gradient, divergence, and curl. Gradient is the rate of change of a scalar and vector scalar, and it is a vector. It is denoted by a common operator called as del or nebula, which can be written as del bar is equal to I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z. If phi of xyz is a differentiable scalar function, its gradient can be written as grad phi is equal to del phi is equal to I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z into phi. So if you bring this phi into the inside part, then del phi can be written as I dou pi by dou x plus j dou pi by dou y plus k dou pi by dou z. So here grad phi is a vector whose magnitude at any point is equal to the rate of change of phi at a point along the normal to the surface point. So here we have to remember one thing, that suppose this is a surface. If you take gradient phi of this particular surface function, that will be always normal to this surface. We have to remember that one. Next, let us discuss about the basic theorems of vector calculus. The first one is Gauss divergence theorem. According to this theorem, the flux of a vector field f over any closed surface S is equal to the volume integral of the divergence of vector field over the volume enclosed by the surface S. So here F is a vector field and ds is a very small volume surface element on the surface, and dv is the volume element of that volume which is enclosed by the surface. So here we have to remember one thing: this Gauss divergence theorem can be applicable only to the surfaces which are closed. So closed means the surface should be always enclosed with a volume, and that volume should be in that volume only we have to take a volume element. We have to remember that one. Next, Stokes theorem. The surface integral of the curl of a vector field A taken over any surface S is equal to the line integral of A bar around the closed curve. Here, what we are doing, we are taking a curve, some random curve, but that should be a closed curve. If we take the line integral of a particular vector field along the line, then that will be integral A bar dot dl bar. This will be equal to surface equal to the curl of a vector field, that is curl A bar dot ds bar, if we take surface integral over the surface. So this curl can be written as del bar cos A bar, and dot ds it comes as same as the above, and this one comes as it is. So this equation, that is double integral S del bar cos A bar dot ds bar is equal to line integral over a closed path A bar dot dl bar is called as Stokes theorem of vector calculus. Next, let us discuss about the fundamental laws of electricity and magnetism. There are four number of laws in electricity and magnetism. If we consider, they are called as fundamental laws of electricity and magnetism. First one is Gauss law of electrostatics, and the second one is Gauss law of magnetostatics, and the third one is Faraday's law, and the fourth one is Ampere's law. Let us discuss one by one. So Gauss law of electrostatics can be written as mathematically integral over a closed surface E bar dot ds bar is equal to q by epsilon naught, where q is the charge enclosed by that particular closed surface, and epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space as well. So this equation tells that electric flux from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught to the charge enclosed by the closed surface. So this is the actual statement of Gauss law of electrostatics. Next, coming to Gauss law of magnetostatics, it can be written as mathematically as follows: the surface integral of over a closed surface B bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. This equation tells that the rate of change of magnetic flux from a closed surface is always equal to 0. Next, coming to Faraday's law. Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction tells that the rate of change of magnetic flux in a closed circuit induces an EMF which opposes the cause. So that this can be mathematically written as E is equal to minus d pi by dt, where pi is the flux associated with that closed current path. So here minus symbol tells that it actually if a current passes through a conductor, closed conductor, a magnetic flux will be generated around it. Like if this is a if this is a if it is a current conductor, the magnetic field lines will be generated like this in circles. So because of this magnetic flux generated by due to the current, the magnets, because of the magnetic flux, induced EMF will be generated, but the direction of that one will be like opposite to this opposite to the current. That means the EMF which is generated drives the current in the reverse direction to the actual current. Just remember that one. Next, coming to the Ampere's law. Ampere's law tells that the line integral of magnetic flux is equal to mu naught times the current enclosed by the current loop. It can be written as mathematically integral over a closed path b bar dot dl bar is equal to mu naught times I, where I is the current through the circuit or current through the conductor, current through the wire, whatever it is. Next, let us discuss the equation of continuity. So this can be derived as follows. As we know, electric current is defined as the rate of flow of charge. This can be written as I is equal to minus dq by dt, where I is a current flowing in a wire, and dq by dt is the rate of flow of charge. Both are equal, but with a negative symbol. If dq is the charge enclosed in a volume and dv and is leaving a surface area ds, then we can write I is equal to surface integral j bar dot ds bar, and q is equal to volume integral of rho dv. This is a, just remember, q, that is charge, is a scalar quantity, and current is also a scalar quantity, and j, that is current density, is a vector quantity, where j is the current density and rho is the volume charge density. Therefore, equation one can be written by using these two equations. We can write this equation as follows. That is integral s surface integral of j bar dot ds bar is equal to minus d by dt of volume integral of rho dv. So surface integral of j bar dot ds bar is equal to, just what we are doing here, just we are bringing this d by dt into this side. We can write this one. So by using Gauss theorem on analysis of equation 2, this is equation 2. By using Gauss theorem, we have already discussed in this topic, that is Gauss divergence theorem. By applying Gauss divergence theorem on this part we can write like this. So surface integral of j bar dot ds bar can be written as minus volume integral of divergence j dv. By this is we have got from Gauss divergence theorem. So just what we are doing, we have written this term like this. Now from equation 2 we can write we are substituting this one instead of integral s j bar dot ds bar. So by substituting this one, we can arrive this equation. Now what we are doing, we are bringing this term this side. So volume integral of divergence j plus dou rho by dou t into dv is equal to 0. It's for an arbitrary surface. Whatever surface we take, it is applicable. So this quantity, because this integral is becoming 0, that's why this part should be become 0. So divergence j plus dou rho by dou t should become 0. This is called as continuity equation in electricity and magnetism. So displacement current, because here the concept of displacement current comes because this is a continuity equation in electricity magnetism. But because of some reasons, the Ampere's law, what we have discussed earlier, is a not complete form that has been modified to suit this continuity equation. So that's why what we are doing, Maxwell's proposed a modification to Ampere's law. So there the concept of displacement current comes. So according to Maxwell, not only the current in the conductor is produces a magnetic field, but changing electric field in vacuum or in dielectric also produces a magnetic field. So the meaning of that one is changing electric field is equal to current produces same magnetic effects as a conventional current in a conductor. That particular current is called as displacement current. So these are the Maxwell's equations in differential form. So the first equation, that is del bar dot d bar is equal to rho, and del bar dot b bar is equal to 0. Del bar dot e bar is equal to minus dou b by dou t. Del bar cross h bar is equal to j bar plus dou d bar by dou t. So these are the Maxwell's equations in differential form. This can be written like this also. There is no big difference because all these three equations are same. Here what we are doing, just we are rearranging. That's all. This is so here different quantities are there. One is D, B, E, and S. We are giving the meanings of them here. D is a electric displacement vector. E bar is a electric field intensity. B bar is magnetic field intensity. And J bar is current density, that is conventional current density. Rho is a charge density within the conductor or within the volume where current is passing through. So Maxwell's equations in integral form will be as follows. First one is surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to volume integral of rho dv. Second equation, surface integral over a closed surface, b bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. Third equation, line integral over a closed path, h bar dot dl bar is equal to surface integral of j bar plus dou d by dou t dot ds bar. And fourth equation, that is integral of line integral of e bar dot dl bar is equal to minus dou by dou t of bs bar dot ds bar, where the symbols has their usual meaning as we have discussed earlier. So now let us derive the Maxwell's equations one by one by using these concepts what we have discussed till now. So let us derive Maxwell's first equation, that is divergence D is equal to rho, or del bar dot d bar is equal to rho. So when a dielectric is placed in a uniform magnetic field or electric field, its molecules gets polarized. That's why a dielectric in a electric field contains two types of charges. One is free charge and the second one is bound charge. If rho and rho p be the free and bound charge densities respectively, at a point in a small volume element dv, for such a medium, Gauss law may be expressed as surface integral of E bar dot ds bar is equal to 1 by rho naught volume integral of rho plus rho p dv. We have already discussed that rho is the conventional free charge and rho p is the charge density because of because of bound charge. here, and epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. Now the bound charge density can be written as rho p is equal to minus divergence of p bar, where p is the electric polarization. Therefore, integral, this equation can be written as follows: integral surface integral of E bar dot ds bar is equal to 1 by epsilon naught integral volume integral of rho minus, instead of rho p we are substituting in this minus divergence p. So this equation becomes like this. So next we will use Gauss divergence system for this one, and we will convert this into divergence, and then we will rearrange this equation. We will come to arrive at Maxwell's first equation. So before that, let us discuss about what is polarization, electric polarization. If you take conductors, there won't be any electric polarization. But when you take dielectrics, if you apply, suppose this is a dielectric, if you apply, suppose this is a dielectric, if you apply a electric field on this dielectric, what happens? The positive charge and a negative charge gets separated, and the center of mass of positive charge and negative charge won't be same. That's why what happens, they act as a dipole, like positive charge and the negative charge separated by a distance, they act as a dipole. Because of that one, what happens, electric dipoles will be formed. Because of that one, electric polarization will be coming into picture. So because of that one, we have a bound charge density, that is rho p, that is equal to minus divergence of p bar, where p bar is electric polarization. So as we have discussed earlier, this term, for this term we are using Gauss divergence theorem and converting into a volume integral. So here, by using Gauss divergence theorem, on left hand side of the above equation we get surface integral of E bar dot ds bar is equal to this one, volume integral of divergence C into dV, and we are writing this one as usual here. So 1 by epsilon naught volume integral of rho dV minus 1 by epsilon naught volume integral of divergence P minus dV. So this is our equation now. This part is our Gauss law in electrostatistics. By rearranging these terms, we can rearrange them like this, and we come to an equation like this: volume integral of divergence of epsilon naught E bar plus P bar into dV is equal to volume integral of rho dV. But we know that epsilon naught into E bar plus P bar is equal to d bar. This is called as displacement vector in electricity and magnetism. So instead of this one, we can write simply d bar. So by writing simply d bar, we from this equation, volume integral of divergence d bar into dV is equal to volume integral of rho into dV. So just bring this term this side, and rearranging will come at this equation. Therefore, for an arbitrary function, we have this one, like divergence d bar minus rho into dV is equal to 0. So this integral is becoming 0, means this term, that is integrand, that is divergence d bar minus rho, should become 0. So this will become 0. By rearranging the terms, divergence d bar is equal to rho. So this is called as Maxwell's first electromagnetic equation. Now let us derive Maxwell's second electromagnetic equation. So the Gauss law in electrostatics can be written as, magnetostatics can be written as pi b bar pi b is equal to integral b bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. So this right side is anyway 0. Now this left side part is there, right? By applying Gauss divergence theorem, we can write this one as like this one. So what happens? Right side is anyway this is 0. The left side part we are instead of surface integral over a closed path, closed volume b bar dot ds bar, we are writing this one. So by writing this one, it is becoming 0. This is nothing but divergence of B. So divergence of B bar is equal to 0. The above equation or expression shows that monopole or isolated pole cannot exist to serve as a source. So this law is also known as Gauss law in magnetostatistics, where V is the volume enclosed by the surface S. Hence, for an arbitrary surface, divergence B is equal to 0, or divergence del bar dot b bar is equal to 0. This is called as second Maxwell's equation in electromagnetism. Now let us derive third electromagnetic equation. So according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, induced EMF around a closed circuit is equal to the negative time rate of change of magnetic flux. That is E is equal to minus dou pi b by dou t, where B is the magnetic field induction. Then the magnetic flux linked with the area as phi b is equal to surface integral of b bar dot ds bar. Here I want to just explain this thing. Just observe. Here E is the electromotive force or EMF generated because of the current passing through a closed path. Phi b is the flux generated, magnetic flux generated because of the current flow, and this rate of flow the rate of change of flux is nothing but our electromotive force. But as we have discussed earlier in when I am explaining Faraday's law, I have explained the physical significance of this minus symbol. So if B is the magnetic field induction, then the magnetic flux linked with the area ds as phi b is equal to surface integral of b bar dot ds bar. Just we are writing this term like this. Now substituting this equation here, we get E is equal to minus surface integral of b bar dot ds bar. But we have one more relation, that is, according to the definition of induced EMF, is related to the corresponding field as E is equal to line integral of v bar dot dl bar. This is the actual definition of electromotive force. So by combining these two equations, we will arrive at third Maxwell's electromagnetic wave equation. So from equation 3 and 4, these are the three equations 3 and 4. Integral over a closed path, b bar dot dl bar is equal to minus dou by dou t of b bar dot ds bar. So our integral over a closed path e bar dot dl bar is equal to what we are doing, just we are bringing this one here and the dot will be here. So minus surface integral of dou b by dou t dot ds bar. Now using the Stokes theorem on the left side portion in this one, we get closed integral over a closed integral of e bar dot dl bar is equal to minus surface integral of curl of e bar dot ds bar. Just what we are doing, just we are applying the Stokes theorem on this part. So this is the Stokes theorem if we apply on this part. So here what we are doing, we are replacing this term with this one. So both sides minus symbol is there. So here also minus will be there. Curl of So by using this one, substituting this one here, surface integral of curl of V bar dot ds bar is equal to minus surface integral of dou p by dou t s bar will come. So just rearranging rearranging the term, so we can write surface integral of curl of V bar dot ds bar plus dou p bar by dou t ds bar is equal to 0. So this surface integral is becoming 0 means this portion should become 0. That means for an arbitrary function, curl of E bar plus dou p by dou t is equal to 0. So here just forget about this ds bar, and curl, now this can be written as curl of E bar is equal to minus dou E bar by dou t, or curl of E this del bar dot E bar is equal to minus dou p by dou t. So this is the third Maxwell's thermodynamic equation. Next, coming to the fourth one, that is called as modifier Ampere's law. So according to Ampere's law, as we have discussed earlier, according to Ampere's law, line integral of b bar dot dl bar over a closed path is equal to mu naught I bar, where I is the current flowing through the circuit, and dl is a very small element of that current conductor or current element, and B is the magnetic field generated because of the current flow. So using the formula, that is I is equal to integral of j bar dot ds bar. This is the general definition of current, because J is here current density and I is the just normal electric current. There is a relation between this J and I, that is this is the relation. So by using this relation, we are substituting instead of I, we are substituting this one. So line integral of b bar dot dl bar over a closed path is equal to mu naught into integral of j bar dot ds bar. So now what we are doing, again we are using Stokes theorem to replace this portion. Here I'm applying the Stokes theorem, that is this can be written as this one. So line integral of b bar dot dl bar over a closed path should be equal to surface integral of curl of b bar dot ds bar. This is according to Stokes theorem. Now this is coming as it is. Now what we are doing, we are bringing this mu naught this side. So and we are writing as it is. So 1 by mu naught curl of b bar dot ds bar is equal to surface integral of j bar dot ds bar. Now we are bringing this mu naught this side, that is here. So surface integral of curl b bar by mu naught dot ds bar is equal to surface integral of j bar dot ds bar, because b bar by mu naught is nothing but our H, that is intensity of magnetic field. So by writing H instead of b bar by mu naught, we will get this one. So again, just rearranging the terms, we get surface integral of curl H minus j d dot ds bar is equal to 0. So for any arbitrary surface, this is the situation. So that's why the integrand, that is curl H minus j, should become 0. So this is a situation. This one is called as Maxwell's fourth equation. So taking divergence on both sides, this is the equation. Curl H is equal to j. So taking divergence on both sides, divergence curl H is equal to divergence j. But we know that for any vector quantity, whatever it is, divergence of curl of a particular vector, whatever vector we take, that should be become 0. This is we know from vector calculus. So this term is becoming 0. That means divergence j should be equal to 0. So this is the continuity equation. But From continuity equation, we have divergence A plus dou rho by dou t is equal to 0. So if this term is becoming 0, this should become 0. That's why dou rho by dou t is equal to 0 means rho is constant. That means static charge inside a conductor is always constant. So this shows the Ampere's law applicable for static charges. Therefore, Maxwell suggested that Ampere law must be modified by adding a quantity having dimension as that of current produced due to polarization of charges. This physical quantity is called as displacement current. That's why the Ampere law is modified as follows. So what Maxwell did, just he added one term, that is JD. Curl H is equal to J plus JD. So by taking divergence on both sides, we will get divergence curl of H is equal to divergence of J plus JD. But as we know already, divergence curl of H is equal to 0. So this becomes 0. 0 is equal to divergence J plus divergence JD. So just this term is becoming 0 once this both are equal but with an opposite sign. So divergence J is equal to minus divergence J it becomes. But divergence J is equal to minus dou rho by dou t, as because this is a continuity equation. But rho is equal to divergence D. Since divergence JD is equal to dou by dou t of divergence D, divergence JD is equal to divergence of dou d by dou t, or JD is equal to simply dou d by dou t. Therefore, the modified Ampere law becomes curl of H is equal to J plus dou d by dou t. So with this, I am concluding for today. Remaining portion we will discuss tomorrow.